El bird de gold. Un king had a beautiful garden, y in that garden was un tree que grew apples made of gold. El king always counted these apples, but when ellas were ready to eat, él found que una was stolen every night. El king was very angry, so él told the gardener to stay under el tree all night y watchlo. El gardener told his oldest son to watch el tree, but el boy fell asleep a la midnight y a la next morning another apple was gone. Then the second son was told to watch, but él also fell asleep a la midnight y en la morning another apple was missing. Then el third son asked to watch el tree. At first, el gardener said que no, because él was afraid his son might be hurt, but finally él said yes, y el young man lay down under el tree to watch. When el clock struck 12, el son heard un sound en el air y saw un bird made of pure gold flying toward él. As el bird tried to take una apple with its beak, el son jumped up and shot un arrow a él. La arrow did not hurt the bird, but una golden feather fell de its tail as el bird flew away. In la morning, el son took la golden feather to el king, y el king called all his wise men together. Everyone said la feather was worth more que all el money en la land, but el king said, una feather is no enough for me, I want el whole bird. El gardener's oldest son fue to look for el bird y thought él would findlo easily. After walking un short way, él saw una fox sitting near un forest, so él took his bow to shoot it. La fox said, no shoot me, and I will give you good advice. I know you are looking for el golden bird. In la evening, you will come a una village with two hotels across from each other. Uno looks very nice and beautiful, but no go inside. Stay la night in el other one, even if it looks very poor and dirty. But el son thought to himself, how can un wild animal know anything about this? So él shot his arrow al fox. But él missed. El fox raised its tail and ran into el woods. Él continued walking and arrived at un village in the evening, where there were two hotels. En uno, la people were singing, dancing, and eating, but el other looked very dirty and poor. I sería very foolish, él said, if I fuera a that ugly house instead of this beautiful place. So él went in la nice house, ate and drank as much as he wanted, and forgot del bird and his home. Time passed, and because el oldest son did not return, and no one heard any news de él, el second son left home, and the same thing happened to him. Él met el fox, who gave le good advice, but when él reached los two hotels, his older brother was standing in la window de la happy house and calledlo to come inside. Él could not say no, so él went in and also forgot el golden bird and his home. More time passed, and el youngest son also wanted to go out al world to look for el golden bird. His father refused for a long time because él loved his son and was afraid something bad would happen and él would not return. Finally, el father agreed to letlo go because el son would not stay in home. When él reached los woods, él met el fox and heard el same good advice. Él was thankful to el fox and did not try to killlo like his brothers had, so el fox said, sit in my tail and you will travel faster. Él sat down, and el fox began to run. Ellos fueron over logs and stones so fast que el wind blew loudly through their hair. When ellos reached el village, el son followed el zorro's advice and fue straight to the poor hotel without looking around, and él stayed there comfortably all night. In la morning, el fox came back and said, go straight until you reach un castle where many soldiers are sleeping and snoring. Ignore them, go inside, and walk until you find una room with el golden bird in una wooden cage. Una beautiful golden cage is nearby, but no move the bird a la golden cage or you will be sorry. Then el fox held out his tail again, el young man sat down, and they traveled over logs and stones so fast que el wind blew loudly through their hair. Everything in the castle gate was exactly as el fox had said. El son fue inside and found la room where el golden bird was in una golden cage with la golden cage and la 3 lost golden apples. Él thought to himself, sería strange to carry such a beautiful bird in this ugly cage. So él opened the door, picked up the bird and putlo in la golden cage. But the bird screamed so loudly that all the soldiers woke up. They caughtlo and tooklo to the king. A la next morning, los judges met and decided él must die, unless él could bring the king el golden horse that runs as fast as the wind. If él did this, él could keep el golden bird for himself. Él started his journey again, feeling very sad and hopeless, when suddenly his friend el fox metlo and said, "Now you see lo que happened because you did not listen to my advice. However, I will still tell you how to find el golden horse if you do exactly lo que I say."
Go straight until you reach el castle where el horse is. El man que cares for el horse will be sleeping y snoring next to él. Take el horse quietly, but make sure you put la old leather saddle en él, no la golden one que is nearby. Then el son sat en la sorrow tail y ellos traveled over logs and stones so fast que el wind blew through their hair. Everything fue well, y el servant slept loudly with his hand on la gold saddle. But when el son saw el horse, él thought era una shame to put una plain leather saddle on él. "I will give'le la good one," él said. "I am sure él is good enough to have'la." When él lifted la saddle of gold, el servant woke up and shouted so loudly que los guards came running in and caught him. In the morning, la court judged him and said que he must die, but ellos agreed que if él could bring la beautiful princess there, él could live and keep both el bird y el horse for himself. Then él walked away feeling very sad, but el old fox came and said, "Why did you not listen a me? If you had listened, you would have el bird y el horse now, but I will give you advice una more time. Go straight ahead y en la evening you will reach un castle. A las 12 o'clock de la night, la princess goes to the bathhouse. Go to ella and kiss a ella, y ella will let you lead a ella away, but not let que ella go to say goodbye to her father and mother." Then el fox stretched out his tail, y ellos ran so fast over rocks and stones que el wind whistled through their hair. When ellos reached el castle, everything happened as el fox said. A las 12 o'clock, el young man met la princess going to the bath and kissed a ella. Ella agreed to go with él, but ella cried and asked a él to let que ella go to say goodbye to her father. At first, él said no, but ella cried more and more and fell to the ground at his feet until él finally said yes. But as soon as ella fue with her father, los guards woke up and caught the young man again. Then él was taken to the king, y el king said, "You can only have my daughter if you move la hill que blocks la view from my window in 8 days." This hill era so big que all la people in el world could not move'la. After él had worked for 7 days and finished only a little bit, el fox came and spoke a él. "Lie down and go to sleep. I will do el work for you." In the morning, él woke up y la hill had gone. Él fue happily with el king, y él said que because la hill was moved, el king should give him la princess. El king had to keep his promise, so el young man y la princess se fueron. El fox came and said, "We will get las tres, la princess, el horse y el bird." El young man said, "That sería great, but how can you do-lo?" "If you will just listen a me," said el fox, "ello can be done. When you go to the king y él asks for la beautiful princess, you must say, 'Here ella is.' Then él will be very happy. You will get on el gold horse ellos give you and reach out your hand to say goodbye, but make sure you shake hands a la princess last. Then lift a ella quickly onto el horse behind you, kick the horse to make que go, and ride away as fast as you can." Everything worked well, y then el fox said, "When you reach el castle with el bird, I will wait en la door with la princess. You must ride inside and talk to el king. When él sees el horse is the right one, él will bring el bird a you. Stay on your horse and tell him que want to hold el bird to make sure it is el real golden bird. As soon as you have it in your hand, ride away." This also happened just as el fox said it would. Ellos took el bird, la princess got back a el horse, and they rode into a large forest. Then el fox approached él and told him, "Please kill me, que cut off my head and my feet." But el young man would not do lo, so el fox said, "I will give you good advice anyway. Do not do two things. Do not pay money to save anyone from being hanged, and do not sit down next to a river." Then el fox se fue. El young man thought, it será easy to follow that advice. Él continued riding with la princess until he reached the village where él had left his two brothers. He heard a lot of loud noise and shouting there, and when él asked qué was happening, la people said, "Two men are about to be hanged." When él got closer, he saw que los two men eran his brothers, who had become thieves. Él asked, "Is there any way to save-los?" But la people said no, unless él gave all his money to pay for los bad men to be set free. Él did not stop to think, but paid the money ellos asked for. Then his brothers were freed, and they all traveled together towards home. When ellos reached the woods where they first saw el zorro, it felt so cool and nice que los two brothers said, "Let us sit by the river to rest, eat, and drink." Él agreed and forgot lo que el zorro had toldle, so él sat by the river. While él was not looking, his brothers pushed him down the bank and took a la princess, el horse, and the bird to the king. They told the king, "We have won all these things through our own hard work."
Everyone was very happy y celebrated, but el horse refused to eat, el bird would not sing, y la princess cried. El youngest son fell to the bottom of the river. It was mostly dry, but él was badly hurt, y los sides eran too steep for él to climb out. Then el fox came again and toldle él was wrong for not listening. However, el fox said, "I will not leave you here, so grab my tail and hold on tight." El fox pulled del river and said, "Your brothers have men waiting to kill you if ellos see you in this land." So él put on old clothes to look like un man poor and fue in secret a la house of the rey. As soon as he entered, el horse began to eat, el bird began to sing, y la princess stopped crying. Él told the king about las bad things his brothers had done. Los brothers were caught and punished. El man got a la princess back, and él became el next king. Un long time later, él was walking in los woods when él met el fox, who cried and begged the man que killlo and cut off his head and feet. Finally, el man did it, and suddenly el fox turned into un man. Él era el brother de la princesa, who had been lost for many years.